Welcome back to the channel, I'm Lewis, and today we're talking football, more specifically Man United, Ruben Amorims, and what he could do to potentially turn it round. This is the lineup that Man United started with against Fulham at the weekend. As you can see, there's a Shaw, De Ligt and Yoro back three, with Diallo and Dorgu as wing-backs, which is the first problem. Diallo shouldn't be anywhere near right wing-back. I understand he's played quite well there a couple of times, but that is just not at all getting the best out of him. He is a massive 1v1 threat, and I don't think he's defensively capable of doing that job, especially with Casemiro at the side of him, who's also losing his legs. This Man United squad has some very talented players, but currently Amorim's system is just not getting the best out of many of them at all, if any. So today I've been looking at what I think Man United can do going forward. They'll make things better and change their fortunes. Now, this is never going to happen under Amorim, especially as he's never going to change his system. And if it was a case of he has a very good system but doesn't have the players yet, I can understand that. But his system has glaring, obvious issues. So what are the problems currently facing Amorim's team? Number one for me is the lack of pressing or the intensity of the press. Man United's players press in clusters rather than a full team press. And subsequently, because there's only two central midfielders in the system, they get very overloaded very quickly. On top of that, you've got Casemiro getting older, and on top of that, you've got almost every single Premier League team playing some sort of variation of three central midfielders. So they're always going to be overloaded, even before the lack of pressing, which is why we see so many pictures of Man United's midfield being so open and overrun. The second issue for me is the build-up from the goalkeeper. So in Amorim's system, when Onana has the ball, or whoever the goalkeeper is, they like to play with their middle centre-back at the top of the box. And usually, that's Harry Maguire or Matheus De Ligt. The reason for this is because he wants that player to be the free man, so that the wide centre-backs bait in the press and the middle one is the free man. But for that to happen, you have to have the right profile in that position. Neither Maguire nor De Ligt is going to dance out of possession, and they're not very press resistant. Harry Maguire had it a little bit in his earlier days with Leicester, but he seems like a different player now. A better defender, but doesn't take as many risks on the ball, probably because he's been burnt a couple of times and his confidence is not as high as it used to be. Which is another problem that Amorim has. He doesn't profile the right players in the right positions. The idea is commendable in the fact that he wants the middle centre-back to be the spare man, because as you play around the press with the right players, you create more space in the opposition third. Another problem they have is a lack of natural width. His number 10s behind the striker tend to stay quite narrow, and it forms a box in midfield. The only natural width that they have comes from the wing backs, and it makes it very easy for other teams to 2v1 and double up on that side with their wingers and fullbacks. Which means a lot of the time Man United have a lot of the ball, but they're just going from side to side because they can't penetrate wide areas as there's only one player out there on each side. It leads to a lot of passes going backwards from the wide areas, which probably in turn annoys the fans, and then it's just a big toxic mess. The last issue I'm going to talk about is probably the biggest one, and it's probably the reason why I think Ruben Amorim will be shown the door this season. I don't think the players fully believe in the manager or the system, which means they're not going to be playing at full capacity and also have nerves. When they do have the ball, they often tend to take the safe option. The only person that doesn't is Bruno Fernandes. There's a lot of safe passing going on, and I think that is because of a lack of trust in the system, and they don't want to chase the ball for the next 4 to 5 minutes, so they try and keep the ball for keeping the ball's sake. And unfortunately, that's a mentality problem that you can't see, and the majority of the time, you just can't fix. As the leader, you have to come in immediately and make everyone buy into your system and philosophy, and show them how it works and give them some evidence in matches that it will if they stick to the plan. And that leads me back to the main point with momentum, and the fact that they've not managed to win back-to-back games proves to the players that they're probably right in not trusting the system, which is exactly what I see every single time I watch Man United play, especially at home. So with the current personnel, how can Man United turn this round? And although it's not perfect, in my opinion, this is what it would look like. I will go through it and explain exactly what I mean, but I think the majority of the players here are profiled right and in the right areas to showcase their strengths and minimise their weaknesses, which is what every elite manager should be aiming to do. Right from the back, they have got a problem with the goalkeeper. That is something they need to sort out, but right now, they've got Bryan and Onana. I would probably choose Onana just because of his ball playing ability, but neither are good enough in my opinion, and change is needed. Centre-back, De Ligt and Yoro. You could probably have Maguire and Yoro, but Yoro's needed for the reason we need to unlock Dorgu. Dorgu's very good at going forward, very explosive and very attacking. We've got to let him do that. But once he does do that and showcases his strengths up the left-hand side, we need to figure out how players around him are going to act after it. So if we let Dorgu bomb up the left-hand side, that then creates gaps. As Yoro is younger and more athletic, he should be the left centre-back, so he can cover spaces that Dorgu leaves behind. In front of Dorgu, we have Cunha, and because Dorgu is exploiting and holding the width on the left-hand side, that means Cunha is able to come inside and help Sesko more centrally, and then he's able to combine from the left-hand side in areas that made him look very good in a Wolves team. We'll then talk about the other flank, and we've talked about Dalot and Mbuemo. Now, Mbuemo, for me, is a very good touchline winger. Yes, I understand that he's good at coming inside and shooting and scoring, like last season, but he did show it against Arsenal in the first game of the season, and he stayed high and wide and was a problem all game. And because he's holding the width on that side, that means then that Dalot doesn't have to hold the width like Dorgu does on the other side, and he can come inside and invert, something that he's shown quite a bit of promise in when he's been asked to do it before. Do I think all these players are fantastic in their positions? No, but I do think it will make them better than they currently are. Also, throwing Dalot into the midfield means that Bruno Fernandes can get forward where he's best. He can go and help Cunha, Sesko and Mbuemo, and that's what you need. The front four being able to do what they do best. Naturally, as Dorgu bombs up the pitch and Dalot comes inside, you are going to want your centre-backs to push a little bit wider. That's where Casemiro comes in, as he has experience in filling those gaps. Kobbie Mainoo is very good at being a connecting midfielder, which means he can come and get it off the defence and drive and glide with the ball very, very easily, like he's shown many, many times. He's very press resistant, and he can travel with the ball and get the ball up the pitch to the front four. It also means they can get him and Bruno into the team, because reports have surfaced lately that Mainoo might be looking to leave because he can't get in because of Bruno, and he's the captain, so unlikely to be dropped. But because of Mainoo's potential, I think it's imperative that both should be playing, and I do think they're quite different, so they can play together. Now, can you upgrade on every single player in this team in some way? Probably, but for right now, this is where Man United are, and this is what they've got to work with. Is this team going to win every single game? No. But will it win more games than it is currently? Absolutely. I also understand that Amorim has to stick to his system because it's the one he knows the best and one that he wants everyone to buy into. But I think eventually it's unfortunately going to end and he's going to get shown the door, and the next manager in has to be way better at profiling these players. They can't just be spending money on top of money on top of money when they already have some very good players that are just being horribly misused. So in settled possession, it would look like a 3-2-4-1, which is very, very good in possession. But also, if you progress the ball up the pitch, you've also got a front five effectively that can go and win the ball very quickly. There's also a mixture of youth and experience here with Yoro, Mainoo and Dorgu on the left-hand side. Some match winners and mavericks in Bruno, Cunha and Mbuemo, and potentially Sesko when he gets used to the league. And then also some experience in the back line with Casemiro and De Ligt. There's even a case for Mazraoui to be playing the Dalot role, but I think both are quite good at it, and Mazraoui has shown promise as well. It's a shame that Diallo misses out, but I think because Mbuemo's just come in, Diallo probably should be on the bench, unless you put Mbuemo up front and Diallo on the right wing. That could also work. There's also things going on in the hierarchy and behind the scenes at Man United that are also contributing to the problems. But on the pitch is the only place the manager can affect. Now, these changes aren't going to make Man United world beaters because of the personnel, but it'll make them a lot better than they currently are, with potential going forward. That's my tactical analysis on Ruben Amorim's system and how to fix Man United. Appreciate you watching the video and listening to me talk about it. And if you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and a subscription on the channel.